Hello there, my name is Rachel. Let's talk about animation. Today we talk about Warriors Unicorn Eternal in episode 7, if I'm correct. But besides that, this episode was, I have to say, top 3 best episodes. Almost top 3. Just maybe one scene. I feel the dramatic was sort of kind of resolved automatically, but we talked about that later. But besides that, this is all about the prince, like what the reason he sort of doesn't want to talk about his homeland, the reason why he leave everything to Melinda, the reason why he acts sort of clingy to her, and explains so much because he quite literally gave everything to her. I mean, not her. I mean, he gave it everything away. His power, his position, his bloodline, his responsibility, his own family just about her, and she knew about it. Well, half of her knew about it because she's still two people. But besides that, it could make so much sense how he sort of feel betrayed, or not betrayed, nervous because she doesn't remember who he is, because the only thing he has is her. And that is sort of kind of sweet, in the same time kind of sad. I mean, he gave everything to her and she knew about it and accepted him. And that is sort of interesting why he's so protective about her. But besides that, it's interesting enough he came back for Parnicus, like the reason why he's broken. Maybe he's going to his homeland to fix it. He feels sort of not sure. He barely turned Melinda. I mean, quite literally, just retold her in the last second, like, bro, you're not a good husband. You have to tell her before the big reveal. But besides that, he finally had the chance to go home to talk about his family, his people, and when he got there, everything was destroyed, or semi destroyed because of him, because he has sort of the bloodline. Like, who is the first in line of the kingdom, he has to especially take his charge of his responsibility. He has, especially his bloodline is connected to this sort of gem that helps the forest and helps everyone, but at the same time he sort of gave it up for Melinda. And that's one of the reasons why he kind of start a war in a way, is because of the crystal, because the marriage, because sort of kind of slapped the face of the other family because he didn't want to marry the other woman. He just basically ran away and basically started a war. I mean, bro, I mean, I can understand, but bro, like, you have responsibility. Like, you have to take it on. But besides that, he admits he screws up. He tried to repair with his own brother, but his brother didn't believe him. Didn't believe he was his brother because trying to kill him. But all this sort of misunderstanding, they actually have a conversation like, yeah, what happened? What's going on? Well, because he sort of let his father have to become sort of the bloodline for a little longer. He had to become one of the tree. Even that is sort of weird because his brother says he's not like young enough to become one with the tree. Like, they're old. Like, it's kind of hard to grasp how old elves really are and what their sort of culture. It also depends who writes their culture of the story you read, book, comic book, movie, or anime. But all of that, that's sort of kind of interesting because you see the prince sort of guilt, like, yeah, he gave everything to Melinda. Now Melinda doesn't remember, and he's just sort of in between two worlds. Like, he's not sure what he must do the right thing. He knows he had to fix it, especially how they constantly get into war just because of the deer. I mean, God, you know you screwed up. They keep dying left or right for just a piece of deer. But all of that, he sort of decided, you know what, I'll fix this. I must have to take the crystal back. It was stolen. But all between this, you find out that Merlin was there all the time, not on purpose, because after the unicorn kind of teleport the Nick's body, in between that, Merlin was arrested by the elves, and that's where he was all this time. I mean, it explains there was sort of a problem because he wasn't there again, and he trying to explain, I got captured, my staff was taken away, I don't really have magic. But during this time, they have a conversation to Melinda and Merlin to gain their sort of trust, like why, what actually happened. Especially Belinda, her better half, trying to push her to talk to her father, saying like, "Yeah, it's time. I mean, let's face it, been hundreds of years. It's time for the talk. The incident, the situation what happened to the mother, the guilt she has, basically accidentally given the evil force of her mother." And Merlin, like, he tries kind of talk to her, like he doesn't know how to approach it because in the short scene, how they sort of patch it up, they point out and also say out their family. They're not sentimental. They're logic. They're basically logical type of family. Like you correct them if you give them the proper answer and basically proper way to explain everything. They'll admit, yeah, I was wrong. I didn't shouldn't do that. In the way it's sort of interesting because when Melinda or Melinda other half, I think I remember it was Melinda other half or yeah, it was the other half that explained to Merlin like you think it's sort of unfair to blame everything on her, also blame the power of her, she's responsibility, how young she was. You think you would take the responsibility on you because you're Merlin. I mean, your name has weight about any universe, and you didn't do anything. And the way he couldn't do anything because he tried to do something, and that's the point Merlin realized he fucked up. I mean, yeah, he gave all the responsibility to his young daughter. You know what? I screwed up. I'm sorry, and he trying to patch it up. But this is the point I was sort of not sure that I actually like the sort of apology, not the apology, the whole execution. That I was sort of questioning. This feels right. I feel sort of too quick to apologize, too quick forgiveness. It should take a little bit longer. But after that, this was the thing I kind of realized. Their family are not very sentimental. They're very kind of distant. The fact he says, "Do you want a hug? Do you want me to hug you?" But he didn't say it. Someone told him like, "Hug your daughter. I mean, she needs a hug." And Merlin like, "Oh, do you want a hug?" Oh, like he's just sort of awkward, and you see Melinda also sort of awkward, and you have this sort of awkward son-daughter moment for forgiveness and emotion, but at the same time you see both of them sort of struggling of their emotions, and everything just sort of makes sense. Even that the forgiveness is sort of too fast, it just makes sense why they act how they act. Just that single moment, and that just sort of makes sense why they decide to quickly do the forgiveness needs. It just makes sense because of what type of family they actually are. And that's sort of kind of adorable. It also sort of sweet and awkward and feel more realistic, even that I feel the scene was a little bit too fast. But besides that, that was just enjoyable. Of course, you also have the monk who sort of all this episode sort of repeating the bloodline of the crystal, and that's a exact line, but he keeps saying that line over and over again, almost like a gag. They realized that could be annoying, but I found it sort of funny that he sort of accidentally kind of passed through the bars. He quite really didn't know how to because he just passed through the bars because he was thirsty, and he just wasn't getting it how he did it, or like why everybody's so shocked. I just want to drink a water, and you realize he's a child. He doesn't know what he does, so it makes sense. After that, they realize to escape, but between this, you see once again the elf prince trying to regain everything, trying to fix all his mistakes. He went to straight to the Black Forest to get the crystal. During this time, this giant restole his basically magic sword. You made a deal, but because he didn't honor his deal, the sword was taken away. But because of this, he has a conversation with the giant like, "Here, bro, if I make you a deal, I give you your sword back, but I will not give you your magic back because you were the douche. You kind of basically ran away." And that was sort of the agreement that the prince, okay, I get my sword and my magic later on. I have to get the crystal. But when we get there, the former king of the other land going in desperate need to get the power and get the bloodline of the crystal, not the prince, his brother, and him and this other witch go at it. A very kind of cartoonish fight. I mean, the fight was interesting. Some of it was very creative, very imaginative. Things you probably never seen or not seen ever again for a long time. But it was an enjoyable, interesting fight. During this time, Merlin sees the fight in his own futuristic eyes. He's decided to get the rest of the group and jump through that moment. And they did. But I sort of like that sort of interesting that the prince trying to look. Let me take care of the king. You take care of my brother. And I love that she didn't explain what to do, and Melinda's like, "What? How? What? Huh?" And this sort of weird kind of chase scene. It was kind of funny, interesting, especially the two fight of the skeletons. That Melinda took the other one, and Elfie trying to take the other prince, and Merlin trying to take the other skeleton. It was a fun, enjoyable fight scene. It's just so interesting and creative. But besides that, the prince defeated the new last king, get his crystal, but still ask sort of that question. Now what? Like, you have now become the new king because it's your responsibility and also fix everything. You sort of did fix everything, but he can't stay there because he still need to defeat the other bad guy, the Grand Evil. So he basically stuck with a rock place and a hard place. And the scene ends abruptly because you think, oh, he decided to stay, he decided to sacrifice, and you realize, oh, his brother dies. Oh no, he didn't die. Everything was a setup to get the bloodline to his own brother, so the robot can actually transfer his soul to a new body and give his soul to his old body to his own brother. Sounds confusing, I know, but technically it worked, and now they're trying to figure out how to get away. But interesting enough, during all this time, the Merlin points out something very interesting. Like, yeah, we defeated everything. We have normal lives. Let's jump to the next fight. The only problem, they can't move away the new bodies because the evil didn't die, because it didn't work that way. Because they think, oh, they defeat the Grand Evil. You didn't. This is not how it actually works. In fact, the very middle of the whole episode, he repeats the same line. It doesn't work that way. I mean, the robot is important, but not that type of importance are you trying to place this robot. And he's sort of confused, trying to understand the situation. It took a little while. He's just finding a guy like someone basically playing with our stuff. Someone is playing us. And he's sort of very dramatic, like, I know I can fix it. He just jumped without telling anyone. I mean, damn, Merlin, like, give a second to explain. He's sort of kind of like a diva, like, just stage left and past the other universe while actually giving an explanation. But that's sort of posing. It was sort of weird, but at the same time very awesome and dumb and funny. But yet, it just felt great. I mean, this whole episode was sort of interesting to understand the real situation. Like, this was sort of a setup of the team, like someone that's standing up to pretend everything's okay, and Merlin just realized, yeah, no, this is completely wrong. Especially kind of realize you get more respect about the prince, how much he give up, also Melinda's situation about his father. Everything was good, not amazing. What's more, the scenes, some of the things. I don't know how you felt about this episode. You feel the forgiveness scene worth. It was completely well executed. You have more respect about the prince. I have. Me, definitely yes, but once more, it depends on you how you felt the whole episode executed. I feel like it was executed good. I mean, he needed a development, and this one delivered his development. Besides that, I really got nothing else to say. Just one question: how you felt about the whole episode? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think we approved? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.